we will not be retrieved alive. Then fear came on me. But whilst we were there, I threw my eyes to the mainland. You know what I was able to see? It's just the sea. It's just the sea. We couldn't see what was where we came from. You can't see. I looked where we are going. You can't see. I looked back. We were right in the middle of the sea. And this is where John is standing. And as he stands, he realizes he has separated from his loved one. And so as he stands, he says, actually, there is a new heaven and a new earth that is coming. That will not separate me from the church. That will not separate me from my family. And so he is separated from everyone. Hence he says, also there was no more sea, because all I see here is a sea. I look on my left, it is just a sea. I look on my right, it is just a sea. I look in front, it's just a sea. Behind is just a sea. The sea has separated me from the loved one. And so he remembers the promises of God, that when God shall come, he will create a new heaven and a new earth, and I shall never be separated by anything. John felt the pinch of separation on the island of Patmos. He felt the pinch of separating from his loved one. Dear friends, if you have never separated from your loved one, you may not understand. He felt the sting of separating from his loved one, and he remembered what God had told him, that where we are going, where God will create, the place where God will create the new earth and the new heaven. He realized and remembered the words of Jesus in John chapter 14. And he is the same writer. And God there says, let not your heart be troubled. Let not your heart be troubled. How many things have you felt have separated you from your loved one? Death is like a sea. And the sea symbolizes that which we cannot control. We can as well speak like John, that when Jesus shall come, finally, death will no longer be able to separate us from our loved ones. We will no longer be able to be separated from our friends and relatives. We will live with him forever. We will never separate again. Now, this is very serious. I have felt some separation in my life. I have lost loved ones. I have lost friends. And I have felt the pinch of separating. Some of us here have lost sons and daughters, and I am sure you have felt the pinch of separating. Some of us here have lost parents, we have lost guardians. We know the pinch of separating. And it is this separation that God desires to deal with. It is this separation that God desires to eradicate. And in his speech, he tells us that there shall be a new earth and a new heaven. We live in a world of dissolving family members. We keep dissolving day in, day out. Today, you are with your parents. They have dissolved, taken away from you. You have lived with your children. They have dissolved, taken away from you. The loved ones that we have cherished all our lives, they have dissolved, taken away from you. And we keep on hearing about death. We keep on hearing about funerals. And everybody is aching. Everybody is in pain. Everybody is waiting because of this separation. It is this separation that brings pain. And John tells us that when God has come, he will deal with this separation. And we will no longer be staying apart. How long have you separated with your loved ones? With the pain that comes with the separation. Sometimes you ask yourself, when you look at your children, and you are speaking in your heart, Lord, my children are too young. It shouldn't be now. It shouldn't be now. Why can't you wait a little bit? Why can't you wait a little longer before I am separated from my children? But then God tells us, his ways are not our ways. His ways are higher than our ways. Some people have left toddlers. Unfortunately, even when they are grown up, the pain is the same. Death has nothing to do with age. Whether you are still young, whether you're still old, when it strikes, we feel the same pinch. We feel the same pain. And we are never going to get used. I've never found a man who tells me now, I've gotten used. I lost a sister, I've gotten used to death. Each time death strikes, it is new. It's a mystery. And the pain is the same. No individual on this planet will ever say, actually, I am okay with death because so many deaths have happened. I am okay with it. It's okay even if it takes place, because we will never get used to death. That's why from the beginning, God makes a plan, and he says when he has come the second time, he will eradicate the pain we are going through. Dear friends, there is a place that God has prepared. That is what John says. For your information, John, he is one of the eyewitnesses. Some of the events he records, he actually experienced them. He saw them when he is recording the crucifixion of Jesus, when he is recording the miracles that Jesus performs. He is present and he is seeing what is taking place. And so he writes from experience. He writes from what he saw. After all, Paul, when he tells us no eye has seen, no ear has heard, no mind will ever comprehend the things that God has prepared, John is presenting the glimpses of heaven. John has an idea. And he is taken in the spirit. He has an idea of how the new Jerusalem will be. And in this new Jerusalem, you will not have a sore. In this new Jerusalem, you will not experience any pain. In this new Jerusalem, you will not experience death. In this new Jerusalem, you will not sorrow. In this new Jerusalem, we will not go through what we are going through. The Bible tells me, and God will wipe away all the tears from their eyes to live with him forever. And he talks about tears. Tears is human language. Though some people take it for weaknesses. The past few months, I have shed tears. I have shed tears. I've been taken into thoughts. And I have shed tears the past few months within this year. Let me see people that have shed tears this year. If you've shed tears, I want to see your hand this year. Yeah, so almost everyone. So tears is the language that God understands. When your tears drop down, when your tears are rolling down, God, the Creator, understands what you are going through. That's why he makes a promise. I go to prepare a place. If it were not so, I wouldn't have told you. I would have told you. I go to prepare a place. There is a mansion. Last time I told you, aspire to get to heaven. Aspire to be there. You know, when we are buying plots, you complain, no, my plot is too far. No, maybe to be far from town. At the moment, we even choose locations where you want to live in. No, I just want to be in Olympia. No, I will be in Woodlands. I will be in Mainwood. You are choosing locations of where you want to live. Me in Lusaka, I can only live in Woodlands. I have found people that say that. They are boasting. I can only be in Lusaka, I can only live in this place. Choosing so many locations, and they don't want to be associated with certain locations. But you see, God, as I conclude, in this particular passage, he is highlighting the location where his children will live forever. It doesn't matter whether your apartment will be closer to the throne of God, whether your apartment will be far away. After all, God has taught us he will give us wings. We will fly from one planet to the other. Traveling will not be an issue because he will give us the power. In fact, the mode of transport we will use from here to heaven, God does not talk about vehicles. God does not talk about aeroplanes. God does not talk about any human-made transport. He will carry us himself, and we will move from this planet to the place that he has prepared. And so, as long as you are in heaven, that is what should matter to you. As long as you are in heaven, whether you are far away from the throne of God, if that is where your apartment will be, praise God that you have finally made it and you are in heaven. And there we are told that heaven is a place of no more sorrow. Heaven is a place of no more suffering. Heaven is a place that God has revealed through his apostle, through his disciple to us. So what must you do? Keep moving. Even when you are experiencing pain now, keep moving. Even if you have so many things on your mind, keep moving. The promise is sure. And the Bible tells us all the promises that God has made are yes in Jesus. And it shall come to pass. God is not man that he should lie. Everything he has told us must come to pass. If he has promised us of a heavenly mansion, truly a heavenly mansion is there. These are not fairy tales. These are not stories that are only taught. Heaven is a real place. A lot of people have debated about heaven, and they have talked about the rapture. They have talked about so many things. Actually, our friends in another religion, they will tell you there is no heaven. Dear friends, I want to tell you, and I want to announce today that heaven is a real place that God has prepared for those who love him. And surely it shall come to pass. We will get there. What we are going through now, it's a phase of life. It's a phase. You've been in pain. There's nothing good in your home. You are worried. You are hearing stories. No, your relative in this location is in hospital. Your relative is in this place, is on oxygen. Your relative in this place is battling with COVID-19. Let me tell you, the place we are going, heaven is a place of no more COVID. Heaven is a place of no more suffering. It is a place of tranquility. It's a place of peace. And you and I ought to aspire to be there. We ought to aspire to be there. Nothing makes sense at the moment. There is nothing that makes sense on this planet other than the hope, and the only hope that we have, other than the promise that God has made, that when he has come finally, we will get to a place that he has promised us. And that is heavenly places. Take time to read a book written by Sister White with a title, In Heavenly Places. Friends, you will find breathtaking issues there. When Ellen White is beginning to describe how it shall be when we finally get there, when she begins to narrate how it shall be on the last day, friends, we will aspire to be there. All the separations that have taken place will be no more. And John wrote these things 65 years after Christ had ascended in AD 95. If Christ wanted, he should have revealed everything to him. But certain things were only revealed when he was at the island of Patmos. There are certain things that you will not know until you have COVID. God will not let you understand certain things until you are in pain. God will not let your eyes open until certain trials befalls you. And then the question is, does God care? Why will he allow certain things to happen when we are his children? Has he promised us that we will not go through pain? Has he promised us that on earth it will be a smooth ride? John was at the island of Patmos. Actually, when you read the pen of inspiration, you will discover that they had plucked out his eyes. Is the church with me? Left for dead at the island of Patmos. He should have been eaten by the reptiles. But you see, the God who controls what is in the sea preserved his life. Even if you are going through pain, God is still able to preserve your life. Unless it is time and it has come. God who has determined that things must go that way, he will allow it. That's why he says in the 6th chapter, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Are you with me, church? In other words, God is saying, I am the beginning of your life. I am actually the end of your destiny. I am in control of your destiny. I am the Alpha and the Omega. I'm the one who creates and recreates. I am the one that makes things happen. And when things happen, there is something that God is working on. He is the beginning and he is the end. He is the starter and he is the finalist. He concludes everything. He is the summary of your life. He is in control of all things. That is what he tells John. My prayer this morning is that all of us, even if we have been separated, even if we have gone through this pain, we will endure to the very end, knowing that Christ is with us. And the Bible tells me, he that endureth to the very end, the same shall be what? Shall be saved. And why does the Bible use words like endure? Those are bad words. Endurance. Those are not good verbs in Christianity. In Christianity, we must only be talking about long life. Talk about good living. Christians must not have diseases. Christians should not have pain. Christians should not mourn. That is not biblical. That is wrong theology. The correct theology is that we will endure. We will endure through to the end. If some are going to sleep, I know this church were highly affected. Highly affected. And Brother Lingera this week has been writing cares and concerns. Now we've become so familiar with the word cares, with the phrase cares and concerns. The moment you see it, oh my God, what is there now? You read, so-and-so lost a sister. Another cares and concerns. Oh my God, what is it now this time? You read, so-and-so, he's in hospital. So we keep receiving bad news here and there. But the Bible tells us, he that endureth to the very end, the same shall be saved. In other words, pain should not veer us off. Pain should not remove our focus. Pain should not keep us away from focusing on the one who saves. Death should not in any way separate us from God, because we ought to keep our focus and keep focusing on the saving grace of God. And when he has come the second time, we will all be saved. I know there are many people that have been nursing the sick. I've also had my own share. It's very difficult sometimes. You want to move out. You look at the condition, you can't move. You just stay there. It's such a very difficult moment. Some have been sick. They've had cancer. And you've gotten to a point where you even want to ask God, but why are you allowing this disease to take so long? What is your problem, God? Dear friends, the Bible tells us, he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. There will be no more of these things. No more. So be hopeful, brethren. Cheer up, brethren. Be courageous, brethren. Keep your faith, brethren. Keep moving, brethren. Keep courage, brethren. Let's keep going through this. When God has finally come, he has told us, there will be no more of these things. They will evaporate, and we will live forever, and we will stay with our God forever, and we will enjoy that which he has prepared for us. Sometimes you may be tempted to think you are very strong. No, actually, I've been moving. I've been in hospitals. I've been exposed. You know, my immune system is strong. Let me tell you, it is all by his grace. It is all by his grace. We know our friends who have never gone to the hospital in a long time. The moment COVID hit, it was once, and the person is gone. So it is nothing. It's not about you. It's not about a good diet. It's not about how you live. It's not about your strength. It's not about your prayer. It's not about righteousness. It's not about your Christianity. It's not about your faithfulness in church. It's not about what you do. It's about what God is able to do. It is about God. It is about him and him alone. That's why we are there. And those of us that are okay, let's look after those that are not well. When he has come, there will be no more of these things. One thing that is clear, the Bible tells me, we will not all sleep. Hallelujah. We will not all sleep. At least there will be some that will be found alive. And that is a mystery of God. If he is still keeping you, perhaps you'll be found alive. That is his mystery. And if you be allowed to rest, well, he has decided. At the moment, we have no control. Tell me which country has managed COVID? Right now, you cannot even behave the way we used to behave. You see, politicians, those who have money, when their relative is very ill, you hear he's been flown to South Africa, flown to UK, flown to whichever place, flown to. This time around, who is flying anybody? You are even more scared to go to South Africa. Even when you think they have best hospitals, you are more scared to go there than to be here.